Hi again. Decimals. What are decimals? Decimals just allow you to express in a number values which are between whole numbers. So if you're trying to show a number that's less than 1 but greater than 0, like say for example half. Half is an easy concept for us to understand because we halve an apple, we halve a cake. So we can understand the concept of half because it's less than the whole thing, less than 1. So half, if you've watched the video that I made on fractions, and especially equivalent fractions, you will remember that half is explained as only one part out of a possible 2 parts. So if the whole is made of 2 parts, then half is only one of those parts. Now, how would you express half as a decimal? If you're converting a fraction, like half, into a decimal, then the first thing you have to do is find an equivalent fraction. So equivalent fraction, a fraction with exactly the same value, except you're changing the numbers, the numerators and the denominator. You can't just change one. You have to change, if you change the numerator, you'll end up changing the denominator in order that the value of the fraction remain the same. So half, if we were to convert half to an equivalent fraction where the denominator is 10, then 2 to get to 10. What do you have to multiply 2 by? Well, 2 times what? 2 times 5 is equal to 10. So you've got to do the exact same function, multiplied by 5 on the top, to get the new numerator, which is 5. So 5 over 10, exactly the same value as half. It's an equivalent fraction, and it's also now got a denominator of 10. Now that you've got a fraction with a denominator of at least 10, can be also a multiple of 10, then it's easier to convert a decimal, this fraction into a decimal. And all it is then 5 out of 10 is the 10 parts that make up the 1. You only got 5 of them. And so where you have it becomes 1 in this ones column, and the decimal after the decimal point, to the right of the decimal point, you now have 5. So 5/10. So that's how you would express it as a decimal. The next thing we have to explain is where you have in whole numbers, you have a ones column, a tens column, hundreds. Okay, so let's just show those columns again. Okay, say the decimal place is here. So this is the ones column. This is the tens column, and this is the, sorry, I'm writing it in angles because it can't fit horizontally, and this is the hundreds column. After the decimal point, so after the decimal point, the first column is not ones on this side, it's tenths. So same spelling as here, except you've got a T and an H on the end of it. So tenths. And the next column after, similar to hundreds, except TH. So hundredths. So you whack the T and the H on the end. And after the hundreds, of course, you have thousands. So here you would have thousandths. Let's just write it. Okay, so this is the ones column. You need to get 10 in this column before it's carried forward to the ones column. Just like you've done before in your addition and your subtraction, right? So it must hit 10 here before this becomes 0 and the next column up becomes 1. So this, if you just remember the concept, so it's 5 tenths and it's 5 tenths, 5 tenths. So this is the tenths column. So whenever you see a fraction that is something over 10, then you know it belongs in the tenths column. That's if it's one digit. Okay, but meaning it's less, the value is less than 1. The value of the numerator is more than less than the value of the denominator. So we're talking about values under 1. Okay, so that's the first part of the decimal explanation. Okay, now to convert some simple fractions. First one we do is 3 over 10. So 3 over 10, it is less than 1, so nothing on that side of the decimal place. You see 1 0 on the denominator, so it's only 10, so you know it'll only be one spot to the right of the decimal place. And you just put that number there, and you're done. What about a very similar one? Just keeping a pattern so you can appreciate the very simple system that's here. Convert that. 2 zeros on the denominator, so you know you'll be occupying 2 spots over here. You've got 2 numbers here. That very easily goes over there. Next one. (333 over 1,000), 333 thousandths. Three zeros on the denominator, so you know you will be using 3 places to the right of the decimal place. That 3 digits that you have on the top slides nicely into there. And the last one, 300 over 1,000. Before you proceed any further with this particular problem, you should note that there's some zeros on the end of this number and some zeros on the end of this number. When you're solving fractions or doing anything with fractions, it's always good to simplify. It makes your job easier. So for each 0 on the top, you can cancel 1 on the bottom. 1 on the top gone, 1 on the bottom gone. Another 1 on the top gone, another 1 on the bottom gone. No more zeros on the top, so we stop there. Simplified, it now becomes 3 over 10. And of course then it's just similar to the one at the top there. 1 0 at the bottom, 1 digit on the top, so you know that slides into there. Just 1 place to the right of the decimal place. If we were then to take this a step further, just complicate it just very slightly. So at the top, say we had a mixed number, 1 and 3 over 10. How would it change this? Well, this placeholder for the ones, we just put that whole number straight into there. 1.3. Next one, what if you had 4 and 3300ths? Well, all that does to the answer is that where the 0 is there, now you have the 4. What about the next one? What if you were to have, say, 15 and 333 thousandths. Gosh, it's hard to get out of your mouth. Right, so this 0 goes away, and that number 15 goes before the decimal place. Right. Fantastic. And there you have it. If you're ready for some more examples to work through, what about 3 and 2 over 100. 3 and 2 over 100. 6. So be the first example. We'll just work through 3 examples here. 6 and 105 over 1000. And 25 and 1 over 25. How's that? Okay, so the first 2 are fairly straightforward because the denominator is already 10 or a multiple of 10. Okay, so the second one, same case. The third one, we'd have to convert this 25 into a multiple of 10. Now 25, you can multiply it by 4 to get 100, because 25 times 4 is equal to 100. An easy way to think about it is you have 100, halve it, becomes 2 sets of 50, you halve each set of 50, becomes 25. 25, 25, 25, 25. Okay, so if we were to, say, go for the third one first, convert 25 and 1 over, 25 here you multiply it by 4, you get 100. The top you have to do the same thing, multiply by 4, you get 4, which is equal to something. Okay, so at least we've got it to this point. Now 3 and 2 over 100. 2 is over 100, so we're talking about the 100th column, not the 10th column. So is equal to 3 point, we leave a 0 in the 10ths column, and we put the 2 in the 100ths column. So that's the answer. Now, the second example B, 6 and 105 over 1000. In other words, 6 and 105 thousandths. Okay? 6 point, that 6 goes straight over that side. It's fine there. 105 thousandths. So you've got to write into the third column. Right, so you've got 3 numbers on the top, so that's fine. You'll write your number 6.105. That's the answer. And the last one, we've simplified it already. It just becomes 25 point. We've got the decimal point there. 4 over 100. 4 hundredths. Just like this first one, we put a 0 to hold the place of the tenths, and we put the 4 in the hundredths column. There you have it. Activity 17 out of worksheet 1 for maths. We can quite quickly solve the 6 problems, but I want you to solve the problem first before you look at the solution. Right? So number 1, 2 over 10. 2 over 10. I'll give you some time to answer that. Okay, I hope you've done the answer. 2/10. So the 10th column is right after the decimal, and you just place the 2 there. On to the second question. That is 34 over 100. 34 over 100. That is 34 hundredths. I'll give you some time to complete it now. Okay, I hope you've done it. 0.34 hundredths. Hundredth is just the second column, so I've got 2 digits there. We'll go all the way to this second column, to the hundredths column. So when you have 2 there, the 3 goes in the 10th column and the 4 goes into the hundredths column. You can write the whole lot down. Very easy. Okay, the third one. Okay. 2 and 26 over 100. Right, I'll give you some time to solve that now. Okay, hope you're done. 2.26 hundredths. 2 digits there, that goes into the 2 columns, the tenths and the hundredths. 26. Fourth one. 5 and 15 over 100. Sorry, in case you can't see the 5 clearly, right? Which is equal to, I'll give you some time to solve it now. Right, hope you've done it. 5.15 hundredths. 2 digits goes cleanly into the tenths and hundredths column. Second last one. 9/10. 9/10. It's a fairly simple one. I'll let you solve it now. Have you done it? Okay. 1 digit goes straight into the tenths column. All right. Number 6. Last one. 40 over 100. 40 over 100. I'll give you some time to solve it now. Right, I hope you've done it. 0.40 hundredths. It'll take up 2 columns to the right of the decimal. 40. All right, and you're done. Okay, how do we do the reverse? What's a simple way to do the reverse? So if you have already 0.65 or 0.3 or 0.61 or 0.908, how would you convert those to a fraction? 65 hundredths, right? Immediately you know the number that will be the denominator is a 1 followed by 2 zeros. see 2 places there that have been taken up, 2 columns, so 2 zeros. It'll sit over 2 zeros. We see there's no whole number element there, so we're just tackling this. 1, 2 zeros. And you just put that number straight on the top. 65 over 100. 0.3. 3 is in the tenths column, so that's just the first column. It's just one column, so it's just 1 0 in the denominator. 10, and that 3 slides straight onto the top. 0.61, 61 hundredths, 2 columns, so your denominator will have 2 zeros. 1, 2, right, 2 zeros, 100. That 61 slides straight onto the top. And the last one, 908 thousandths, it's a bit difficult to say. 1, 2, 3 columns after the decimal place. So you know your denominator will have 3 zeros. 1 followed by 3 zeros, so you're 1,000 there. And that 908 slides straight onto the top. Okay, what about a few examples with whole numbers? So 61.01, 31.93, 200.001, 101.017. Okay, these ones have a whole number element. So you see the whole number element there is 61, and this one is 31, 200, 101. So we put it before the fraction, because we're producing a mixed number. 61. How many columns are being taken up here? The 0 column, the column with the zeros in, which is the tenths column and the hundredths column. So 2 columns, so you know your denominator will have 2 zeros, 1, 0, 0, and that 1 sits on the top. It's no point writing 01. 01 is exactly the same as 1. You're just wasting your ink writing the O instead of in front of the 1 when you're writing it like that. Okay? 31 is the whole number. 93, 2 columns, so the denominator will have 2 zeros. 1, 2 zeros. 93. Don't know if you can clearly see that, but yes, 93. The third problem. Let me just write that a bit clearer. 93 over 100. All right. Okay, this one, 200. 1, 2, 3 columns. 1,000ths. Just 1 out of 1,000. 3 columns, so the denominator will have 3 zeros. And that 1 slides on to the top. And then the last one. 101, which is the whole number, that's before the decimal point. Then after the decimal point, you have 3 columns that are being used up. 3 columns. So you know your denominator will have 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3, and that's 17. It slides straight onto the top. So 101 and 17 over 1,000. I hope that was clear. We will now do activity 18, the solutions out of the maths worksheet. Okay, so the first one is, this is converting decimals to fractions, 0.5. Now, given what we've gone through before, I'll give you time now to answer the question. Okay, have you done it? Right. Okay, so that is 5 in the tenths column, so it is 5/10. One spot to the right, so one place to the right of the decimal place, therefore it will sit over a denominator with 1 0. So that number over 10. Okay. If we were to then go on to number 2, 0.54, which is equal to, now 54.54 gives you 54 hundredths. That's 2 places to the right of the decimal place, so you know the denominator will have 2 zeros. So that 54 will be over a denominator with 2 zeros. Okay, the third one, 0.03. Now you know that 3 is not right next to the decimal place, so it's not just one place after the decimal point, it's 2 places. It's the tenths column and the hundredths column. So it's 3 hundredths. 2 places, the denominator will have 2 zeros. 3 over 100. Let's see if we can write. Number 4. .2. It's very similar to the 0.5 at the top. It's only one place after the decimal place. It's 2 tenths, so 1 0 on the denominator. So it's 2 over 10. Number 5. .78. Now this is 1, so it's including a whole number. So you start off with a whole number, the 1 on the side. Then this 0.78, you will have it sitting as a fraction. So 2 places to the right of the decimal place. So you know it is 78 over denominator with 2 zeros. 78 over 100. Okay, let's just make that a bit darker. And then the last question. Sorry, I'm going slightly crooked with the numbers there. It's okay, the important thing is the solutions. .23. First thing is you take that whole number, the 5 sits out here, the 0.23 becomes the fraction part of the next number. So 23 sits on a denominator with 2 zeros, since there are 2 places there to the right of the decimal place. And the 23 sits on the top. There we go. Those are the solutions to activity 18. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, then please subscribe. If you would like me to do a video on another topic, then please send me a comment. Thank you.